I remember I got attached to my car. Don't be judging me. But I grew up in a very humble neighborhood. Everybody pretty much had the same kind of car. The only person in my neighborhood that had a good car was a guy that owned a liquor store. That's sad, but I grew up liking cars. Cynthia, I like cars, and I had promised myself one of these days I'm going to buy me a Mercedes. Yeah, I'd see them in magazines, and I didn't see them in the hood, but I saw them in magazines. And I said, one day, give me one of them. Then I messed around and started working with my mentor, Alva Bishop Hobbs, and he had a gold Mercedes. And one day, he needed me to go pick up something. And he said, take my car. And I had to go to Anderson. I was half afraid. But I got in that car, and what I want y'all to know, when I was going down the highway, Eddie, you know how the highway kind of banks when it makes a turn? When it went into the turn, the Mercedes sat down. I was going into turn, it went boom. And I hugged that turn, and came out of the turn, went boom, popped back. I'm like, oh, I got to have me one of these. I got to have one of these. And so I trusted God because I know God can deliver. And I said, God, I want me a Mercedes. And God worked a miracle and got me a Mercedes when my credit rating was terrible. I won't bother you with the details. I'll tell that at another time. But somebody say it was God. It was God. It was God. It was God. And y'all got promised not to judge me. Don't judge me. Okay, y'all with me? Don't judge me. But I was single. And you know what a Mercedes does for a single black man? Like when you pull up to the light, you know she gonna look. And you just keep looking straight ahead like you just... When you pull up to the gas station, you know everybody's gonna check you out. I remember one time I had somebody I was mentoring, and I pulled up to the gas station. It was one of them gas stations where they said you had to pay first. And I said, watch this. I got out, took the pump off, put it in my car, and looked over at the guy. And the guy went and turned the pump on. I said, see, because he know with a Mercedes, I'm not trying to steal cash. But it started to define me. It was Henzy that drives the Mercedes. So even though it was from God, when God is the only one that should be able to define me, I got attached to the car. I love that car. Love driving Mercedes. Love the prestige. And then I got married. And my Mercedes at the time was getting a little old and needed a lot of care. And Lady Nicole at that point did not understand the Mercedes care. And she said, you could just get you a new car for what you putting in to that car. I'm like, not a Mercedes. But long story short, the Mercedes went. And through sacrifices I was making from the gospel, I ended up with no car. And my sister Rosalind gave me a 93 Dynasty. And it was an old car. It was a little rusty at the bottom. And Lady Nicole, I never told you, but it kind of hurt my feelings because when you pull up to the light in a 93 Dynasty, they don't look no more. Now, I wasn't trying to do nothing, but I still want them to look. And I felt like I lost my identity because this was defining. And God and I started to have conversations because I'm like, God, I'm teaching your people prosperity. How can I teach prosperity and I'm driving a 93 Dynasty? And God said, your car don't change my word. But my word will change your car. And so I had to unattach from what I had considered precious. So I'm asking you today, what is it you're attached to? Is it your reputation? Is it a concept like being married or famous or rich? What are you attached to? What has been defining you all of these years? And what I'm saying to you, listen to me carefully. Anything you're attached to that is not God is sin. Okay, y'all didn't hear me. Because you cannot be attached to two masters. Because even though the two may walk together for a while, at some point, they're going to separate and you have to decide which one are you really attached to. Are you attached to a particular outcome, a particular state of being, a particular that? Would you have something that if this thing doesn't happen, you would define your life as a failure? What are you attached to? And I come to tell you this morning that you have to let go of anything you're attached to that is not named Jesus.
Put your hands together. Oh, yeah. Love God with faith. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I was running in circles, jumping the hurdles, getting caught in that rush of doing so much. I was feeling kind of worn out, always checking the boxes, trying to be flawless, always spinning my head and catching my breath. I was too afraid to blow it down. I told myself to keep this up, that God wanted more than just my love, but I was complicating things, was just like me.